And I did a lot of teaching. That was part of my role. It was teaching complex trauma, DBT, a lot of clinical topics. And I want to say kids, but they're not kids. They're in their young 20s. But these young adults, early career trainees, were saying, wow, your training was so informative. I was engaged the whole time. I was paying attention. Usually it's difficult for me to pay attention. And many of them would say, have you ever thought about academia? No, thank you. I'm not interested in teaching in academia, right? I really value clinical instruction. And that's why I created Greco Training and Consulting, is because we focus on continuing education in the real world. What does this really look like in the therapy space, whether it's a virtual space or a physical space, right? And give me some tangible tools. There's nothing worse than going to a training where you're bored, where you're checking your email, and then afterwards you're like, okay, now what? That's great in theory,
right,
but now what? So you're not going to feel that way when you leave one of our trainings.
Right.
And I say "are" because I am the main instructor. I started this. But a lot of folks were asking for trainings on clinical topics that are outside my area of competency. I am not going to teach and instruct on anything that I do not know inside and out, right? Like it needs to be within my scope. So I've contracted out for other fabulous clinicians who are able to instruct on religious trauma, on veterans, supporting veterans in clinical work, therapeutic art making, equine assisted psychotherapy. So those are all in the works. Those are all happening in the fall. So that's our mission, is to create real world clinical instruction for the everyday therapist with tangible tools.